Imagine a tense Sabbath, a holy day of rest, but also of intrigue. Jesus was invited to the house of one of the leading Pharisees for a meal, but the table was set for more than food. It was a test, a silent judgment. Curiosity about Jesus' motives was great. There was a man with dropsy, swollen by disease. Pharisees watched, waiting for Jesus' every move. The Sabbath law forbade healing, and the fear of breaking it was palpable, but Jesus felt the urgency to act. Jesus, knowing their thoughts, asked the experts in the law and the Pharisees, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" A direct question, a confrontation of authority that left them silent. The scarcity of an easy answer was evident. They remained silent. So Jesus, taking the man by the hand, healed him and sent him away. A real-time miracle, an act of compassion that defied the rigidity of tradition. Fear of his authority silenced them. Jesus then said to them, "Which of you, if your child or ox falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will not immediately pull it out?" Irrefutable logic, exposing the hypocrisy of their rules. The urgency of life spoke louder. He could not answer these things. Jesus used the authority of his wisdom to unmask the inconsistency. The crowd's curiosity turned to Jesus' words, no longer to the rules. Observing how the guests chose the places of honor at the table, Jesus told them a parable. A lesson in humility that challenged the social conventions of the time. The fear of being humiliated was a driving force. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor. For a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. The scarcity of places of honor was contended. And then the host who invited both of you will come and say, "Give this person your seat." Then, humiliated. You will have to take the least important place, an image of public humiliation, a trigger for shame. The host's authority determined their fate at the feast. The urgency not to make a mistake was important. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, "Friend, move up to a better place." Then you will be honored in the presence of all the other guests. Humility is rewarded. Curiosity about the reward was intriguing. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. A reversal of values, a truth Jesus preached with authority, challenging human pride. The fear of being humbled was great. Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid." A radical instruction, breaking the cycle of social reciprocity. The scarcity of an altruistic act was a problem in society. Jesus' authority challenged the way the world worked. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, a list of unexpected guests, those despised by society. The fear of associating with them was real for many, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous, a promise of eternal reward, an incentive for selfless generosity. The urgency of the final reward. When one of the dinner guests heard this, he said to Jesus, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." A declaration of desire, but perhaps without understanding the true price. Curiosity about the kingdom was great. Jesus then told another parable, that of the great banquet, which would reveal the hypocrisy of many. A certain man prepared a great banquet and invited many guests, a generous invitation, an unmissable opportunity. The host's authority was evident. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, "Come, for everything is now ready." The urgency of the invitation, the time of grace opening, curiosity about what would be served was great. But one by one, they all began to make excuses. The first said, "I have just bought a field, and I must go and see it. Please excuse me." A business excuse, prioritizing material things. The fear of losing profit was greater than the honor of the invitation. Another said, "I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me." Another earthly priority, the scarcity of time for the banquet, the fear that the oxen would not be good. Still another said, "I just got married, so I can't come." A personal priority, a justification of comfort, family authority was used as an excuse, the urgency of not committing. The servant came back and reported all this to his master. And the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, "Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." A dramatic turn, a radical change of guests. Servant said, "Sir, what you ordered has been done, and there is still room." The persistence of authority, the space for more. Curiosity about who would be invited now was intense. Then the master told the servant, "Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full." An irresistible urgency, a command to fill the void. The fear of remaining empty was present. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste of my banquet. A final sentence, an exclusion for those who rejected the invitation. The scarcity of a second chance. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple." A radical, fear-inducing, and shocking demand. "And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." The cost of discipleship is total, an urgency that demanded sacrifice. Jesus' authority accepted no half measures. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. One to you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it. A parable that required planning. A curiosity about the true cost of following Jesus. For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, "This person began to build and wasn't able to finish." The fear of public shame, the scarcity of mental resources. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. One T he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000. Strategy, risk assessment, an urgency for preparation. If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still a long way off and will ask for terms of peace. The recognition of impossibility, the pursuit of peace before defeat, the authority of prudence. In the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciple. The final ultimatum, the full price of discipleship. The scarcity of total commitment was the big problem. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? A metaphor for discipleship without impact, without purpose. The fear of becoming useless, without authority. It is neither suitable for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown out. The consequence of uselessness, exclusion, an urgency to maintain flavor, essence. Curiosity about the true impact. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. The final call, a direct challenge to those who heard him. The authority of his words demanded a response, a decision. The fear of ignoring him was the final message.